The bass thumped through the walls of the club, a pulse that matched the racing of Mia's heart as she watched Lena weave through the crowd, her laughter cutting through the chaos like a beacon. She'd never seen anyone move like that, fearless, magnetic, as if the world bent to her rhythm. By the time Lena grabbed Mia's hand, pulling her onto the dance floor, Mia knew she was in trouble. New York City in the summer of 2025 was a fever dream of neon lights and endless possibilities. And for Mia Carter, a 25-year-old graphic designer fresh from a small town in Ohio, it was overwhelming. She'd moved into a cramped Brooklyn apartment 3 months ago, chasing a job at a trendy design firm. Her roommate, Lena Harper, was everything Mia wasn't. Bold, unapologetic, and effortlessly cool. Lena, 26, was a freelance photographer with a knack for capturing raw, fleeting moments and a reputation for breaking hearts. Their apartment was a clash of personalities. Mia's tidy desk stacked with sketchbooks, Lena's chaotic corner littered with camera lenses and half-finished coffee mugs. They'd been strangers at first, but late-night talks over cheap wine had turned them into something closer. Friends, Mia told herself, though her heart fluttered every time Lena's green eyes lingered on her a second too long. Tonight, they'd gone out to celebrate Mia's first big project at work. The club in Williamsburg was packed, the air thick with sweat and perfume. Mia, in her denim jacket and white blouse, felt out of place among the glittering crowd, but Lena, in her leather jacket and dark jeans, owned the space. "Come on, Mia, loosen up," Lena had teased, her voice low and teasing as she handed Mia a drink. The alcohol burned, but it was Lena's touch, her fingers brushing Mia's wrist, that set her skin on fire. As they danced, the world blurred. Lena's hands found Mia's waist, guiding her through the rhythm. Their bodies moved closer, the space between them shrinking until Mia could feel Lena's breath against her cheek. "You're not bad at this," Lena murmured, her lips dangerously close to Mia's ear. Mia's face flushed, her thoughts a jumble of panic and want. She wasn't supposed to feel this way. She dated guys back home, safe and predictable. But Lena was a storm, unpredictable, thrilling and terrifying. The night spiraled into a haze of laughter and stolen glances. By 2 a.m. they stumbled out of the club, the city alive around them. Lena suggested a rooftop bar nearby, a place with fairy lights and a view of the skyline. Mia, tipsy and bold, agreed. They sat close, knees brushing, as Lena pointed out constellations above the city's glow. "You ever think about just taking a chance?" Lena asked, her voice softer now, her eyes searching Mia's. Mia's heart pounded. She wanted to say yes, to lean in, to let go of the fear holding her back. But the words caught in her throat. Instead, she laughed nervously, deflecting. "You mean like jumping off this roof?" Lena's smile faltered, but she recovered quickly, tossing her hair back. "Maybe something less fatal," she said, but there was a flicker of something hurt in her eyes. Mia hated herself for it. The moment passed and they headed home, the silence between them heavy with unspoken words. Back at the apartment, Mia fumbled with her keys, her mind replaying Lena's question. The living room was dim, lit only by a flickering streetlight outside. Lena kicked off her boots, her movements casual but deliberate. "You okay?" she asked, leaning against the counter, her gaze piercing. Mia nodded, avoiding her eyes. She wasn't okay. She was drowning in feelings she didn't know how to name. Lena stepped closer, her voice low. "You don't have to hide, Mia." "Not with me." The words were a lifeline, but Mia froze. She wanted to reach out, to close the distance, but fear of rejection, of what it meant, held her back. Lena sighed, her shoulders slumping. "Good night, Mia," she said softly, disappearing into her room. The door clicked shut and Mia stood alone, her heart aching with the weight of what she hadn't said. The next morning, Mia woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of Lena humming in the kitchen. It was a new day, but the tension from last night lingered. Mia wanted to talk, to explain, but every time she opened her mouth, the words vanished. Lena, meanwhile, acted like nothing had happened, her usual charm in full force. But Mia noticed the way Lena's smiles didn't quite reach her eyes, the way her touches were more careful now. At work, Mia's thoughts drifted to Lena. Her project designing a campaign for a local queer-owned bookstore felt personal now. She sketched posters with bold colors and inclusive slogans, her heart pouring into every line. But her mind kept circling back to Lena's question. "You ever think about just taking a chance?" She wanted to. God, she wanted to. But growing up in a small town where different was whispered behind closed doors had left scars. What if she was wrong about Lena? What if she was wrong about herself? By evening, Mia returned home to find Lena editing photos on her laptop, her brow furrowed in concentration. Hey, Mia said, her voice tentative. Lena looked up, her expression unreadable. Hey, good day. Mia nodded, clutching her sketchbook like a shield. She wanted to say something, anything to bridge the gap, but the words stayed locked inside. Lena closed her laptop, standing. I'm meeting some friends later. You in? Mia hesitated, then shook her head. Maybe next time, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Lena nodded, but there was a flicker of disappointment in her eyes before she left. Mia sat alone in the quiet apartment, her sketchbook open to a drawing she'd started of Lena, her sharp jawline, her piercing eyes, the way her smile could light up a room. She traced the lines, her fingers trembling. She wasn't just falling for Lena. She was already gone. The days blurred into a tense dance of avoidance and longing. Mia threw herself into her work, her designs for the bookstore campaign earning praise, but her heart wasn't in it. Every night, Lena came home with stories of gallery openings or late-night shoots, her energy filling the apartment like a spark. But the space between them grew, a silent chasm Mia didn't know how to cross. One evening, Lena burst through the door, her cheeks flushed from the autumn chill. Mia, you have to come with me tonight, she said, her eyes bright with excitement. There's this underground art show in Bushwick. It's gritty, real, your kind of thing. Mia hesitated, her instinct to retreat battling the pull of Lena's enthusiasm. I don't know, she started, but Lena cut her off, grabbing her hand. No excuses. You're coming. The art show was a maze of raw, unpolished talent paintings on salvaged wood, sculptures made from scrap metal, and photographs that captured the soul of the city. Lena moved through the crowd like she belonged, introducing Mia to artists and strangers alike. Mia felt alive in a way she hadn't in weeks, her shyness melting under Lena's warmth. They stopped at a photo display, Lena's work. A series of black and white shots of couples in quiet moments holding hands, laughing, kissing in the rain. Mia's breath caught at one image. Two women, their foreheads touching, eyes closed in a moment of pure connection. That's beautiful, Mia said, her voice soft. Lena glanced at her, a flicker of something vulnerable in her eyes. Yeah? I took it thinking of someone. Mia's heart skipped, but before she could ask, Lena was pulled away by a friend, leaving Mia staring at the photo, her mind racing. Was it her? Could it be? The night ended on a rooftop again, this time with a group of Lena's friends. Mia sat on the edge, nursing a beer, watching Lena laugh with the others. She felt like an outsider, but then Lena plopped down beside her, their shoulders brushing. You're quiet tonight, Lena said, her tone gentle. Mia shrugged, staring at the city lights. Just thinking. Lena nudged her. About what? Mia's throat tightened. About you. About us. But she couldn't say it. Instead she mumbled, the photos. They're incredible. Lena's smile softened. Thanks. They mean a lot to me. The walk home was quiet, the city humming around them. At their apartment, Lena lingered in the doorway of her room, her expression unreadable. You ever gonna tell me what's going on in that head of yours, Mia? She asked, her voice low. Mia's heart pounded, but fear won again. Nothing's going on, she lied. Lena's eyes darkened, and she turned away. Right. Night, Mia. The next week was torture. Lena was busier, gone most evenings, and Mia felt the distance like a physical ache. She buried herself in her sketches, drawing Lena from memory, her smirk, her intensity, the way she made Mia feel seen. One night, alone in the apartment, Mia found a photo Lena had left on the counter. A candid shot of Mia laughing, her eyes bright, her hair catching the sunlight. On the back, in Lena's messy scrawl, was a note. You're prettier when you let go. Mia's chest tightened. She clutched the photo, her resolve crumbling. She decided to act. The bookstore campaign was launching soon, and Mia had an idea. She worked late, designing a special poster for the event, one inspired by Lena's photos, bold, vibrant, and unapologetically queer. She wanted to show Lena she wasn't afraid, not anymore. The night of the launch, Mia invited Lena, her heart in her throat. Lena showed up, her leather jacket slung over her shoulder, her eyes scanning the room until they landed on Mia's poster. She froze, her lips parting as she took in the design. Two women silhouetted against a sunset, their hands intertwined. Mia, this is... Lena's voice cracked, her eyes meeting Mia's. You did this. Mia nodded, her cheeks burning. I wanted it to mean something. Lena stepped closer, her gaze intense. It does. For a moment the world stopped. Mia wanted to say everything, how she felt, how she was scared but ready, but then Lena's phone buzzed, and she glanced at it, her face falling. I have to go, she said abruptly, leaving Mia standing there, her heart sinking. Mia spent the next day replaying Lena's abrupt exit, her mind spiraling with doubt. Had she misread everything? The poster, the photo, the moments that felt like more, were they all in her head? Work kept her busy, but her thoughts were a storm. Lena hadn't come home that night, and her absence left the apartment feeling hollow. By evening, Mia couldn't take it anymore. She texted Lena. Can we talk? No response. She paced the living room, her sketchbook open to the drawing of Lena, her heart a tangle of hope and fear. When Lena finally walked in, her eyes were tired, her usual confidence dimmed. Hey, she said, dropping her bag. Mia stood, her voice shaking. Where were you? Lena hesitated, then shrugged. Out. Had a shoot. But her tone was off, guarded. Mia took a breath, steeling herself. Lena, I need to know what's going on. With us. Lena froze, her green eyes flickering with something Mia couldn't read. Us. Lena repeated, her voice soft but sharp. Mia, you've been dodging me for weeks. You tell me what's going on. Mia's chest tightened. She'd been so caught up in her own fear. She hadn't seen how it hurt Lena. I'm scared, Mia admitted, her voice breaking. I didn't grow up where this was okay. But you make me want to be brave. Lena's expression softened, but she didn't move closer. Mia, I can't keep guessing what you want. I thought. She trailed off, running a hand through her hair. I thought you felt something too. I do, Mia said, stepping forward. I do, Lena. I'm just figuring it out. Lena's eyes searched hers, and for a moment, Mia thought she'd close the distance. But then Lena stepped back. Figure it out, Mia. I'll be here when you do. She grabbed her jacket and left again, leaving Mia with the weight of her own hesitation. The next few days were a blur of regret. Mia threw herself into the bookstore campaign, but her heart wasn't in it. She saw Lena in every design, every color, every line. One night, she found a note tucked into her sketchbook, in Lena's handwriting. I'm not giving up on you. But you need to show up. Mia's eyes stung with tears. She knew what she had to do. The bookstore was hosting a queer poetry night, and Mia signed up to read, her hands shaking as she wrote a poem about love about Lena. The night of the event, the room was packed, fairy lights casting a warm glow over the crowd. Mia scanned the faces, her heart sinking when she didn't see Lena. But as she stepped to the mic, her voice trembling, she saw her leaning against the back wall, her eyes locked on Mia. The poem poured out, raw and unfiltered. You are the storm I never saw coming, the light that breaks through my fear. Every step toward you feels like falling, but I'd rather fall than stay here. The room was silent, then erupted in applause. Mia's eyes found Lena's, and for the first time Lena's smile was unguarded, full of something that looked like hope. After the reading, Lena approached, her voice low. That was about me, wasn't it? Mia nodded, her throat tight. Lena's hand brushed hers, a spark in the dim light. I'm proud of you, Lena whispered, and Mia felt the world shift. They walked home together, the city alive around them. Lena's hand found Mia's, their fingers intertwining. I meant what I said, Lena murmured. I'm here. But you have to meet me halfway. Mia squeezed her hand, her heart pounding. I'm trying, she said, and for the first time she believed it. The air between them crackled with possibility. But Mia knew one poem wasn't enough. She'd taken a step, but the path ahead was still uncertain. Lena's hand in hers felt like a promise, but promises could break. Over the next week, they fell into a tentative rhythm, shared coffee in the mornings, late-night talks that lingered longer than before. But Mia sensed Lena holding back, waiting for her to prove she was all in. One evening, Lena invited Mia to a gallery opening where her photos were being featured. It's a big deal, Lena said, Her voice casual but her eyes hopeful. Mia agreed, her nerves buzzing. The gallery was sleek and modern, filled with artists and critics sipping wine and dissecting the work. Lena's photos stood out raw, intimate, capturing moments of joy and pain. Mia lingered on one. A woman alone on a rooftop, her face half in shadow, her expression a mix of longing and resolve. Felt like a mirror. You see yourself in that one, don't you? Lena said, appearing beside her. Mia nodded, her voice caught in her throat. Lena's gaze softened. I took it the night after the club, when you wouldn't let me in. Mia's heart sank. She wanted to apologize, to explain, but Lena touched her arm. It's okay. You're here now. The night felt like a turning point. They laughed with Lena's friends, their shoulders brushing, their smiles easy. But as they left the gallery, a voice cut through the night, a man, drunk and loud, hurling slurs at them as they held hands. Mia froze, her small-town instincts kicking in, but Lena tightened her grip. Ignore him, she said, her voice steady. Mia's heart raced, but Lena's strength anchored her. They walked away, heads high, but the encounter left Mia shaken. Back at the apartment, Mia's hands trembled as she poured water. Lena noticed, her eyes narrowing. You okay? Mia shook her head, tears spilling. I hate that. I hate that people can just make us feel small. Lena pulled her into a hug, her arms strong and warm. They don't get to decide who we are, she said fiercely. Mia buried her face in Lena's shoulder, her fear melting into something softer, something like trust. The next day, Mia decided to take a leap. She invited Lena to a quiet diner, just the two of them. Over greasy fries and milkshakes, Mia opened up about her past, the small town, the whispers, the fear of being seen. Lena listened, her eyes never leaving Mia's. I grew up in a place like that too, Lena said quietly. But I decided a long time ago, I wasn't going to let anyone else write my story. Mia reached for her hand, her voice steady. I want to write mine with you. Lena's smile was radiant, but before she could respond, her phone buzzed again. Another shoot, another obligation. Mia's heart sank, but she pushed it down. Go, she said, forcing a smile. Lena hesitated, then kissed Mia's forehead, a promise in the gesture. We're not done here, she said, and Mia held on to those words like a lifeline. The weeks that followed were a delicate dance of courage and vulnerability. Mia and Lena grew closer, their moments together filled with laughter and quiet confessions. But the world wasn't always kind. At a pride event in Manhattan, they faced more hostility glares, muttered comments, but Lena's defiance and Mia's growing strength held them together. They danced under rainbow flags, their hands locked, their smiles a rebellion. One night, Mia planned something special. She decorated the apartment with fairy lights and cooked Lena's favorite pasta, her hands shaking as she set the table. When Lena came home, her eyes widened, a slow smile spreading across her face. What's this? She asked, her voice soft. Mia took a deep breath. I'm all in, Lena. I'm done being scared. Lena's eyes shimmered with tears as she crossed the room, pulling Mia into a kiss that felt like coming home. It was soft at first, then fierce, a release of everything they'd held back. They laughed through tears, their foreheads touching, the city humming outside. You're my storm too, Lena whispered, echoing Mia's poem. The months that followed weren't perfect. There were arguments, doubts, moments when fear crept back in. But they faced them together, building a life of small victories, shared mornings, late-night shoots, Mia's designs hanging in Lena's gallery shows. The world didn't always understand, but they did. They chose each other every day against the noise. One evening, a year after that first night out, they stood on their rooftop, the city sprawling below. Mia held Lena's hand, her heart full. You changed everything, she said, her voice steady. Lena grinned, her eyes bright. You did that yourself. I just gave you a push. They kissed under the stars, their love a quiet revolution, a testament to the courage it took to be seen, to be whole. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.